maybe there's be worse places to be.
Hmm. Yeah, I would not want to be in San Francisco right now. I would not want to be in New York right now.
Yeah, New York is definitely not a fun place. Philly is slowly getting it's not bad. I mean, North Jersey is kind of nuts too, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
North Jersey, like Jersey, like obviously they're just counting like all Jersey numbers, but it's all up north, But that's just given everybody, you know, there's that whole area over there, um, which is it is what it is. Just kind of dealing with
Yep,
it.
totally. You guys are
Yeah.
working away. You guys have plenty of work.
Yeah, I mean it's been interesting. We yeah, it's kind of hunkered down a little bit. Figure out so far so good with clients. Um, lots of work. Everybody's kind of like holding down everything, It's in the it's in a weird space. The team is working away, so that's always good. Um, for me it's more of trying to drum up more and figure out where the business goes is toughy, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. It's I
we're in
feel
an
like
interesting time at the moment.
I feel like as you know, it's funny. I was talking to Amanda about this the other day. Like I feel like this is the time where we as founders and as CEOs or as salespeople have to be very much more creative than we normally are as to how we drum
Hmm.
up work and how we find work and how we utilize our team. Um, which is, on one hand, frustrating and challenging, and on the other hand, kind of, dare I say, a little bit fun. Um, dare, a little bit more, um, a new challenge. And I think that when we start a business like this, we know that we're heading towards challenges, and it's just another one to stretch our brains on.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has that. It's an interesting time. Obviously, I think it's definitely different than financial crisis or anything like that. You kind of have financial crisis you kind of predict, right? You can predict a little bit more like it can come out, stretch out. This,
Well, the thing about the financial crisis that's interesting to me is, I've either started or been the first employee of agencies that began in financial turmoil. So right after 9/11, and then right during the financial crisis in 2007, 2008. And I will tell you that for a small agency back then, it was a godsend because no, the other clients, our big client names, didn't want to hire big agencies because we were cheaper and had the talent from big
yep.
agencies. This is not the same thing. This is not like, I think people don't know what to do. Are they going to hire, like, do they hire an agency? Do they hire teams internally? Like, the whole idea of remote working for everyone has turned everything on its side. And I think, as you know, and I know, like, my team is all remote. We've been
Yep.
preparing for, not on purpose, but preparing for this for over a year, and
Yep.
so we're poised for it. Whereas I think it's a good thing. A lot of bigger companies who aren't ready for it need people who know how to jump in and work together, via Zoom or via Slack or whatever else you need to use. Probably not Microsoft Teams.
Believe it or not, Teams is actually really good.
I
I
can't
know
stand
you
it,
might
but
not
fair
like
enough.
it, but it's been interesting. We have to use it for certain things.
We have clients who use
Um,
it, yeah, so I totally understand.
we have a client that yeah, we have to be in it. But I think it's a funny moment, right? Like we started as a remote company, but we have an office. We just happen to
Yep.
like working from an office. But to us it doesn't really matter. You're working with clients remotely anyway, right? I think that's where most of this comes from, where we can actually jump in and help clients get through that process.
Hmm.
Um, so Dan, since we're recording this, because I want to see if we can actually make this a show.
Yeah.
Because hey, why not?
I'm
Um,
all for it.
who are you and what is that you do?
So my name is Dan Maccarone. I run a company called Charming Robot. We're a digital product design studio, based, I guess, everywhere since we're remote now. And we work on everything from media and entertainment products to financial services to wellness and fitness to everything in between. And our team is are people who've been around doing this stuff for about 20 years, each of us.
Wow, that's been a while. How long is Charming all about?
We're about 9 years
Another
old.
10.
We'll be 9 in August. Should we
Nice.
last till August? I mean, no, I mean humanity, by the way, not the company.
All right, you're being grim here. Yeah, we're gonna be 10 in May, which is kind of crazy.
Does it put a damper on your 10-year anniversary plans?
I had none.
Oh, fair enough then.
So no, because then I like the only person that would plan this stuff is me. So no, I guess that's just gonna change what we do. It's gonna be
So how do you? Let me ask you a question. So with teams working remotely, how do you, I guess, create some sort of inclusive feeling, some sort of camaraderie right now, or is it different than it would be normally with everyone remote?
no, actually, it's not different. We've always said that, like, half the U.S. team is pretty much almost all in one place, but we kind of have people all over the place, and then we have developers everywhere, and then we work with clients. So for us, Slack and Zoom is like a natural built-in work, and we know how to work it.
Hmm.
To a point, like, people are like, "Oh, turn on video." We're at a point where half the time the video's not even on because it just works that way for us. We know how it does and how we do it. Doesn't really matter. I mean, there's a morning stand up every day.
Right.
That hasn't changed. It's always been there.
So I asked that because I think. Go ahead. No, sorry.
And like on the Fridays we have our full internal here team type of call. And that might change. I mean, I'm catching up with everybody. We still do podcasts, so that kind of goes back and forth. So I don't think it changed much.
So I asked that because what's interesting is we use Zoom for everything and Slack for everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is that I find that everyone on the team now wants that video turned on, and I am very anti video call. I don't want to be on video calls ever, and everyone's sequestered away, whether it be because whether they're with their partner or whether they're by themselves. Everyone seems to be like, let's turn on a video. Let's like see each other's faces, because at least it gives us some sort of window into something that's not our house or apartment or whatever. And the other thing I think that's different for us is that the things that we talk about on Slack would be totally mundane any other day of the week or time of life.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of, like, I think, sanity controlling or balancing happening by talking about stupid, simple things like, what are you making for dinner? In fact, I think every morning and every evening, someone, at least one person on the team, is like, what's everyone making today? And we have these whole conversations around recipes and whatever that would seem like time wasters if it was any other time. But now it's just a nice way of, like, getting, again, like I said, a window into someone else's life.
Yeah, it's definitely has changed. I don't know. I mean, for us, it's normal. Like, this is why I'm doing this, because it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's the reality of the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think what people are having a harder time is people who haven't worked this way, right? Like all these people who I think bigger companies fighting, like, oh, you can't remote, you can't work remotely, you have to be in an office. Now they're like, well, you're forced to it. Oh wait, we can actually do this. Like, my thought is, like, what happens after? What happens after all this? Like, do everybody
just
just
go
goes
back?
back?
Yeah,
Right?
nothing
Like,
goes back
you
to
can't.
normal.
Like, what do you mean? You can't. Wait, I can't work remotely now? I just spent all this time doing it.
Learning how to do it, by the way, you know what I mean? Like it's a skill set
Yeah.
you've now learned, is how to do that. So you try to take that away from someone, they're like, well, wait a minute. Now, I would bet you, I look at, like, the parents I know who are working, and I bet you they can't wait to get back to an office because of how difficult it is having, to balance schooling your kid or keeping your kid, and are distracted while you do your work, or while one of you does that while your partner does the work, whatever it is. Like, I think that there's something to be said for, like, being able to go back to some sort of normal there. But we've only been doing it for a week. You know what I mean? Most people.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it a lot longer, which is
Well, I
good.
mean, no, I mean, like, the majority of people have been only
Majority of
doing it
people,
for,
yeah.
yeah. So, even if they learn how to do it, I think there's going to be something to be said for being able to leave your house someday.
Yeah. always, it's always fun. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time, which is okay, which is fine.
I think we just don't have
Um,
to learn how to be positive about it and stay productive, and create
mhm.
those barriers. You know how it is, like working from home. It's one of those things, people say, like, are you wearing pants? Are you showering? Are you doing things that like keep some sort of a schedule? I actually think that like getting up and taking a shower and like putting on clothes that aren't your pajamas can be can keep you feeling a little bit more like, okay, I have a routine, as opposed to
Yeah,
I don't have to care, I don't have to shower for 3 days or
yeah.
whatever.
I think, uh, yeah, I don't know how you feel about this. I guess I think we were so used to working the way we work, the way we kind of do whatever, that it doesn't. We make our own schedules, right? So it's
Right.
not like we still have a routine, but
Sure.
there's, it's just different. Um, yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's funny because it's like people are struggling a little bit with it.
Well, because it's a break in your routine. That's why I say routine can be good. Now, eventually, maybe you get into whatever habit you get into because it's become your day to day. But for
Yeah.
people who've been doing it for a week, like, I think it helps to know that your first meeting is at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10, whatever time that's at, and knowing that you have to be on camera so you don't want to look like garbage is actually, because you know what, because you wouldn't do that if you're walking into an office, right? Or if you're walking to a client.
Right.
Um,
Right.
people might be a little bit more dressed down. They might be a little bit, I'm not saying you have to suit up, but there's something to feeling human, looking
Or you're
human.
just dressed up from here, right?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Right.
You're like fully
Exactly.
shorts on and
Right. I think I saw I forget where I saw this today. I was reading about it, but it was something that resonated with me, was that people who are working in like a situation like your house where you are now or where I am now, you know, the idea of what's going on behind you is really interesting.
oh yeah, it's
Like
always funny.
like are people, walking around half naked, like, they just got out of the shower and you're not paying attention to where your camera's pointed and they don't know what's there, like that's it's something
Or
most people
that's
would
just
not
like
think about.
on. Right, or it's just
Right.
on. There's a video of somebody going to the bathroom in a major conference call. And you're like,
Your
and you're
AirPods
like,
do go anywhere you want them to.
well, no, actually carrying the laptop into the
Oh my
bathroom
God.
and the
Well, who
camera was
hasn't done
on.
that? Yeah, it's gonna learn how to
We
keep the
know how to
laptop
turn a
off.
camera off.
I'm not saying I brought the laptop into the bathroom before, but you know, I've also, by the way, working remotely, but I've been caught putting my phone on mute and doing workouts during meetings. So like doing push-ups in the middle of a meeting, and then like all of a sudden someone asks you a question, you have to unmute and be like, "Yeah, totally agree with that. That's what I was going to say too." And I've had like Eric from my team be like, "Dude, are you doing push-ups?" I'm like, no, totally am on Slack.
No, it's too funny. Too
Yeah.
funny.
That's talk about
Uh,
like learning. See, these are things we have to learn as we work remotely. How to balance your workout while you're on a conference call. Turn the camera off.
how's it? How's your clientele? Are you guys okay, or what's the?
It's funny. We had our weekly status meeting on Friday, and then followed that with a budget meeting. And Eric, comes to me and tells me like what our projections are, and it was actually better than I thought it was going to be, which made me happy.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that's happening for us right now is there are probably 4 or 5 projects in our pipeline that didn't exist a week and a half ago because they're all about solving problems that have come up in the past week.
Yeah.
So part of those are things that we've kind of generated from an idea standpoint. Some of them are people have come to us and said, "Can we do something in this space?" Whether or not we'll get them or whether or not they'll get investment for them, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that like some of these will come through just because we need to solve these problems very, very quickly. And that's actually in some ways a godsend. Our typical none of our clients have gone away. We're putting anything on pause, but I can tell you that almost all of our clients right now are startups or close to startups and not corporations.
Yeah. We're. It's been kind of quiet. It's like we talked about. It's a little harder to drum up some business or somewhere, figure out how sensitive you have to be through things. But I think overall,
Yeah.
people are. I think last week was one of those weeks where everybody just got hit over, with a bat completely. Just shocked bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Info everywhere. I think everybody's coming out of it is like, okay, what's going to happen? What's next? Basically, I think we're in that
Well,
moment.
you made a good point about like what was like, it's not quite like the financial crisis, it's not like other things. I think about like after 9/11, it was a big bad thing happened on one day, and then and the Pentagon and then the World Trade Center or whatever. And then like for a week or so, people walked around New York and just like dazed, right? And then probably more than a week,
Mm-hmm.
probably for several weeks. But like people had to work, people had to do things. The difference is that like lives like going to a work or like those norms hadn't changed. In this case, the norms have changed, but even as the economy kind of yo-yos every single day, like brands and businesses need to keep going as much as they can.
Right.
And so
Right.
they need work. So, it's about how do we not just shift our working style, but how do we shift our thinking as to how our brands are leveraged, you know,
Yeah.
or not our brands, but other people's brands. And I think you're right. Like we're a week into it. I think people are scrambling, trying to figure it out. But I think that can't last too long because people are going to have to figure out like, how do we keep, being um, capitalistic in some way or another.
Right. 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 Yeah. It's definitely an interesting time.
How are you changing? You mentioned that things are a little weird. Like, how are you changing your approach from a business development standpoint?
I think it's all based on relationships and like you do good work for clients. You still need to help clients. They need to figure out it's a shock, right, of where you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so trying to approach a lot more content, a lot more sort of reaching out, see where he goes. And it's the only way we hope for, right?
Well, but
We're
you
still
said you like
critical to
before critical to.
do it.
Sorry, no, I was gonna say like it's you mentioned before like how you contextualize it without because you don't want to be in insensitive. You know what I mean? You don't want
Yep.
to be tone deaf
Yep.
to the current situation, but you want to let people know that you're out there and available to help them solve whatever problems they need
Yeah,
solved.
I think there's both, right? I think that you can't be tone deaf, but also like the other side of it is you have to, you have still families to feed and still do business, right? That's everybody's problem, right? You
Yep.
said last week and last 2 weeks we were kind of shocked at the system and stuff, but people are coming out. They're like, well, we're gonna have to figure this out,
Yeah.
however we need to figure it out. Um, you look at on the retail side. I mean, all, Target, CVS, right? They're all hiring like crazy right now because they have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're part of that, but then like some sectors are just not doing well. So, how does that fit into the world? Um, so
There
there's always
are
those solutions you have to figure out.
there are so many problems that need to be solved everywhere from like how do you help small businesses like restaurants and bars and service industry people out. How do you We're working on a project right now, how do you help people who are addicts who need to get you know in front of
Yeah.
other people and have conversations and you can't do that in person. How do you help out musicians and people and artists who are normally like whether they're Broadway actors or studio musicians, or how do you help those people out who have no job right now because they can't be in public? There so many different industries need help and solutions. And that's the great thing about what you guys do and what we do and what a lot of our friends do is that, like we're all problem solvers when it comes down to it. Yeah, we code or we design or whatever, but like when it
Hmm.
comes down to it, we think and we solve problems and then we figure out how to execute on that. And that's what people need right now. I mean, which will lead to other jobs being hired and businesses being created. But that's where we can help. We as technology people, as creative people, can help these other industries that may not be quite used to having to quickly solve something and get something launched, within weeks,
Right.
if
Right.
not
Right.
days.
Right. Let's go to fun things.
Okay, I like fun things.
Why'd you start the company?
Why did I start the company?
Yeah.
So I had been running another agency before this that um, was doing basically the same thing that Show My Robot does. I had a business partner, had a great team. We were very successful, but I found that as we grew, we left a lot of the world of startups that had made a name for ourselves, And I kind of missed a lot of the empathy that we had when we first started. I think we became a bit more arrogant than we should have. And so I wanted to go and start a company that wasn't arrogant. I wanted to start a company that was helping about helping guide people into the world of like creating new products, whether that's a big company or a small company. And the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to work with people who I genuinely wanted to hang out with every day. Not to say I didn't get along with my other team, I really did, but like they were just people I wanted to work with on a daily basis, and
Right.
I wanted to cherry pick them, and so that's what I did. And you know, like you mentioned, in like coming up on 9 years, we work with the same people, almost exactly the same people today as we did back then. Some have come, some have gone, but we all still find ways to do that together, and I think create quality work. And I think our clients, you know, what I've learned over the past 9 years, which wasn't something I had necessarily at the last company, was, you know, those clients become those people too, you know, and we have an 80% client return rate, which is unheard of in a lot of agencies. And it's because that we all want to, we don't just want to like work together, we want to have a beer together or whatever it is. And I think that camaraderie with our corporate clients and our smaller clients is a testament to what, you know, me and my now former business partner, Chris, set out to do, which was create something that was much more communal than your typical agency, which is a much more, you know, vendor client relationship.
That's cool. It's funny I ask these questions. I mean, I know the answers to all of them, but always like.
Well, we've known each other for a long time.
That's true.
And by the way, you're included in that too, because we've been working with you now for what, 7 years?
Yeah, it's been
I mean,
a bit. Ah,
we're
yeah.
still, and you lived in New York
Yeah, it's
when I
almost.
met you.
It is a 7 because I left. Yeah, because I met you when I moved. I lived there for 5, and it's almost been 2 since I've been gone. So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and we're still working on projects together. We're right now working on something together. So, you know,
Correct.
um,
Yes.
for some reason you keep coming back to us too, you know.
I don't know what I'm doing. It's just punishment, man. Punishment.
Well, that's just the agency world in general. You
Yeah, I mean I as much as it's a weird time right now, it's client work.
yeah, yeah, but I
But
think that
I
like
don't see anything better.
no, I mean I also think the way one thinks about client work varies, right? Like I you guys are like this too. Like we're not yes men, you know. We are
Mhm.
here to solve the problem, and sometimes that might mean disagreeing with our clients, but hopefully in a very productive and helpful way. And I think one of the challenges with client work sometimes is that you're not allowed to disagree. You end up working on things a lot that you don't feel proud of or you don't feel excited about, and not every project you're going to be like super jazzed about. But I think when you really feel like you have a voice in creating it, it's a big difference than just feeling like you're a design monkey or whatever,
Right. No,
code
that's
monkey.
good. Yeah, what kind of wine you drinking there? Since you love your wine.
So I'm talking to you right now from Napa Valley, from St. Helena, Napa Valley, and I am drinking a Cabernet from Picayune, which is in Calistoga, about a 15-minute drive from here north. And we are members of their wine club. We love it there, and so we had a case that we actually brought up from San Francisco the other day, and so we opened this last night and had it with our homemade meatballs for lunch today. But
Nice.
I'm actually drinking the Cabernet. Amanda's drinking the Pinot Noir because I like Pinot Noir.
I like some wine. That'd be nice.
You
I'm
should have a
right
glass of wine.
right now.
And
Dana's
it's
not.
only 1:30 here.
Oh, so it's 1:30. Yeah, where you are. You
The
literally
north.
have no neighbors, do you?
No, I can see my neighbors across the street, and I have neighbors
Oh,
diagonally from me and neighbors next door. No, there are like 6 houses here, and we all know each other, and we're all friends, which makes it a little bit easier to get through it as we have like text chats or whatever. And so, you know,
and standing in your front yard just yelling at each other.
social distancing.
Right, yelling at each other from
Yeah,
across.
it's actually really nice. Like, you know, we have one couple across the street from us. They're about in their late 70s, early 80s, and our neighbors went shopping for them the other day, and it's it's very communal here. It's a
Yeah.
little, and I don't know if how it's is with you guys down the shore, but like it's much calmer here and much people kind of feel like they're in it together, but there's not this like huge rush mobbing the grocery stores or anything. Like all grocery stores are fully stocked. Like we're having a pretty chill time
Yeah, down
comparatively.
down here it's been okay. There's few short towns that are kind of crazy, um, as it is because it's so close to Philly.
Sure.
Down here is pretty quiet. I mean, this is a very small town. I mean, it's bordering like a bigger crazy town, so it's like across the bridge.
Yeah,
Still Harbor is really tiny, so it's only 7 miles of it. That's it. Um, but
that might
it's
be.
pretty
That's
quiet. I mean,
definitely bigger than ours.
there's construction everywhere, so that's kind of going on. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet, which is good. I mean, it's kind of nice to just go out and like go on the beach and take a walk. This weekend
Yeah,
there's more people, but people were like kind of walking away. I think Thursday we went on the walk at night and like zero people, zero like there was more cats, possums, and rabbits running around than there was people or cars.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's a good sign.
we're doing it right.
Same. We don't
um,
we don't see many people out and about.
but also like partially like it's if something was we got sick or something. I mean, it's only an hour and a half drive back home.
Right.
Um, you know, multiple things. A, we wouldn't go here to the hospitals here, um, just because they're tiny. And they're it's not that I wouldn't want to take any of those beds away because I think the hospital down the street only has 15 ICU beds and they're tiny. They're tiny hospitals that are just serving the community. So I wouldn't want to overdo that, but so that's partial for me. So far, so good. There's like a nice farm just down the street, which we can get. It's still open. Um,
Yeah.
they literally it's a working farm, so um, they have pigs and chickens and stuff like that. And it's funny because we were asking she's like, yeah, we're considered a grocery store, but also the guys in the back, they don't care. They have to eat. They have to be maintained. They have to. So we're open.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same thing here. I mean, the one thing about going to the city that would be concerning to me is that like all this, like at least San Francisco and I know New York, like they're all running out of beds and they're running out of equipment and everything. So I don't know where you're better off. Honestly, like I don't know because you can't get in.
Yeah, but the testing is
Uh,
better up there, right? So you
that's true.
kind of,
Yeah.
you partially is that is you would also think like obviously New York is trying to do a field hospital now in Javits Center, which is
Hmm.
kind of crazy to me.
Hmm.
Um, but that's appropriate, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's they have to. Um, that's like I said. I don't want to be in New York for that reason. I miss my friends there, but
Well,
is
we're doing this. I mean,
exactly, and that's how a lot of us are
that's
getting.
sort of my whole point, Yeah, yeah. It's a lot
Sure.
of us gonna do this, and that's okay. Like it's the same thing with our parents. We try to catch up with them almost every day. um, you kind of dismiss the technology part of it till you get hit with this, right? You're like, this is the best way to do this. Like, we're not going to see our parents because they're older. They have, we don't want to get anywhere. My dad is still, works, and it's been interesting to kind of go through that. I find myself yelling a lot more at
More because they're not conforming with what needs to happen to stay safe,
some of
or
the stuff. Yeah, some of like they are, but some of the stuff I'm like, stop doing. You know,
yeah,
it's partially that.
I hear that.
Just what are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Um, I know. I keep on coming back to like I have like a small list of questions I want to ask everybody, which is kind of fun.
Sure, please.
My final question to you is like, what are you currently obsessed about or with? Could be anything.
Hmm. It's a it's
It's
an
my
interesting
favorite question.
question. Um, I think. I mean, I would say bifurcated on one of my obsessions. I'm clearly obsessed with the news and and figuring out ways that we, and I don't just mean this in a business standpoint, like what can we do?
Right.
What can we do, like using our knowledge to help? How can I use my brain to figure out what things think? At the same time, we are sequestered in our house here, and so the other half of our day when we're not thinking about how to stay safe and be productive is working on our house. And there's like a
Yeah.
list of 25, 30, 40, 50 projects on a whiteboard over there that we are trying to check off. And every time we check one off, it's just a little bit better. It feels like we're a little
I
bit
think a lot of
closer.
people are doing those.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Home Depot is still open. We were driving back from San Francisco, I think it was 2 days ago, and the Home Depot somewhere on the way between here and there was the whole parking lot was jam packed, which is scary because it's a little too, too not enough social distancing. But yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that. But it's a good way to pass the time, and it's a great way to feel more comfortable in your surroundings because you're making it better and you're making
Well,
it
you can
more of
also
what we
do
want it to be.
something, right? You can also
Yeah,
do something. So
yeah. So that's probably it. And I think that there's one more thing, which is like I forgot how much I love my slow cooker, and so I've been like thinking about how I've used it several times in the past couple of days or a week, and we have a list of recipes we're going to be doing that over the next probably week or two. So just that finding new ways to entertain ourselves through cooking and construction is just a way to keep our mind off what's what the reality is.
that's good. All right, Daniel.
Cool.
That was fun.
I'm glad. We need more fun.
Always need more fun.
Yeah. Well, I hope this works out well for you. I hope we have an entertaining chat to put on YouTube wherever you're putting it.
Always on YouTube. Come on. Trying it. See how it
Cool.
goes. Anyway.
Awesome. Cool, man.
Thanks,
Well, I'm
man.
gonna get back to work. I will talk to you soon, and keep doing this.